everybody. Welcome to Soul Journey 424. Hey, Michelle.
Hello, hi everybody.
So, a lot actually has happened in the last couple of weeks, and I think I'm excited to talk to Michelle about this. Just for the viewers, I actually had to stop her because she was talking such compelling stuff, and it was like pulling me in. It's like you got to do this on video. So, the first is if you look back at past episodes, which I encourage you to do, you're going to see at one time Michelle was writing things down, and we were trying to get her to ask the right questions because I think generally we know if you have questions and they're correct questions, they will answer you. So we were trying, and that didn't quite pan out the way we were hoping. However, recently it's gotten even better because now it's gone from the written to the verbal. So Michelle is now actually able to kind of channel and have open dialogue in what we believe for, I have to believe it's light language. So Michelle is now communicating verbally with these beings. And these beings could be orphaned angels, or what's the terminology?
Unemployed.
Unemployed angels, her higher self, right? I I don't know necessarily who's talking and communicating to her, but they're talking to her, and she asked it a question about me. And she asked because just for the fact that we have such a tight communication here on Earth, she asked if we were soul family. And their answer was
No.
no. But I find that perfectly fine too because we found each other. We're great friends now, and I'm going to be her support network. And if ultimately I end up having these abilities, we're going to say let's connect in another dimension. Let's do that. So anyway,
Absolutely.
let me ask you to start sharing with the viewing audience what you were telling me because we were talking about light language and all of that. Can you start again?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what's been happening the last week because I did a video last week. So this particular week, and I don't think we talked about light language last week, did we?
I'm not. I think it was just touching upon.
So now when I do my meditations in the morning, I am doing a lot of light language. Not particularly with my hands, but I am vocal and I am speaking, and I don't know what I'm saying, but one particular day this week, I was able to speak and I decided I was going to start asking questions. And I did. I was asking questions and I was actually getting responses. Very strange, when it's happening, but it's also amazing that you can ask a question and actually get a response back. And I know people that are, they're more experienced at this than me, that they would say, oh yeah, you could do that anytime. You should always ask your guides for help. Ask them questions. Don't ever make a decision without asking them first. I was never like that. I didn't have that, that wasn't ingrained in me. That wasn't something I did. But anyway, so this one particular day I did. I was asking questions and I was getting answers. And it's just, and that's only happened twice. The rest of the time, it's just mostly been light language. Sometimes the hands are involved, sometimes not. But yeah, so that's been this week. So I was telling John that we were just talking about the process, and he said that he was open to it, and I was telling him that our past hurts, and I may have mentioned this in an earlier podcast, but past hurts, things that bother you, things that you need to work on, everything's going to come up to the surface when you start this process, because that's what this process is all about. It's about letting go of things that you've held on to and things that have hurt you in the past. So like I had to like relive all those horrific things mentally in my mind and feel the emotion. I felt how I felt. I released them. Now I have not released everything. I still have a lot of um, pent up things in there. So I was telling John that when we do our when I do my meditation, that I always first I asked to connect with my higher self. I asked to be surrounded by light. I asked for guidance from unemployed angels, my 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 loved ones, and I want them to assist me in this process because I know that they're there, and I didn't used to believe that they were there. You know, it's almost like um, as a Christian, I would, I knew that, oh, they went to heaven, but you didn't feel them, but trust me, they're there. They're there. I have not heard from my son or anything like that, but I can feel that, I know he's okay, and I know I haven't reached out and asked anything specific from him personally, but there's some channeling going on now. So hopefully, I can be able to connect and release some things and find some more peace. But each day it gets a little bit better.
And I think for me, and I know we mentioned this in another episode, and I guess in a lot of ways I repeat it because I find it to be such a poignant point. And it's when people say, "Ooh, it the as long as you remember the people who have passed, they're still there." But it's not that. That is we're talking much more literal. We're talking from what we've seen. Time, space, it intersects. All time, right? Without going into the kind of freakish science, but they're saying time is relative because if you have a star of a different size and it has a different gravitational pull, that will affect time. So knowing that time is not absolute and time is not like a constant,
Right.
it's much different from what we used to believe. I think it's much different than our imaginations can even perceive. But because time is no longer something that's a constant, all timelines can intersect, and all dimensions can intersect. We're so used to a three-dimensional world, but that's Earth. If we're talking, time is not a constant, nor is like light, and all of these different things are intersecting at the same time. It's just that we don't understand it. Frequencies, dimensions are all occurring simultaneously.
Yes.
We're speaking in such a literal sense in a different dimension, in a different time, in a different existence. These people are actually still there in that reality.
Yes.
And they are able to, because they're so far advanced, they're able to communicate to us. And there's only a very rare few, myself is not included in that, a rare few that can somehow either be receptive to those communications or maybe even communicate back. But I know I'm ad nauseum belaboring that point, but when people say, "Oh, don't worry, just don't forget and they'll be there with you," that is not what we're referring to. We're talking far more literal in a way that our puny little brains just cannot comprehend.
Right. So my understanding is there is no time. Humans created time because that's how we understand it on this 3D plane. But there really is no time. Everything is happening now, 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 now. So our loved ones that have passed away are still here now. Like they may have died 20 years ago, but the 20 years ago is now. Everything is now. Everything is now. It's taken me some time to understand that and get it, and I don't understand it fully. Kind of like your faith. You just know that you know that you know. But So that's very hard to explain and to understand, to grasp the concepts of it, because it's deep. It's deep, but there's so much more than what we see here, and everything is in a parallel reality. We, so another version of me is living a life similar to what I'm living right now, and every now and then you can jump into that other reality, that other parallel reality. So sometimes because I watch a lot of spirituality and things, and they talk about how you can actually visualize being in your another parallel, your highest parallel reality, and jumping into that, like they call it quantum jumping. It's this is really it's deep, it's great. It's a feeling that you know that there's more than just what you see here, because sometimes life gets so rocky and terrible that um, it's like, what the hell's the point of this life? Why am I here? What's going on here? Why is this stuff happening to me? And it's not happening to you. It's happening for you. It's happening for your growth. It's happening for the growth of all that is, and consciousness. And it's just, it's a big web. We're all connected. I am you, you are me. We are all in this big, think of it as the ocean, and we're all drops in the ocean. Can you separate my drop from your drop and John's drop, and everybody's drops are in there? So we're all part of the collective, and our different experiences go back and raises the consciousness of all that is. I don't want to call it source energy. Some people say God, some people say Allah, some whatever your particular religion is, but we are all one. There is only one. There's not all these different types of religions and different Buddhas, and we're all one.
And I think the biggest challenge for any viewer watching that to comprehend that is because it's so contradictory to how they were taught, right?
Exactly.
None of us were taught any of this, and who knows? The teachers maybe didn't know it. Maybe there's a reason they didn't mention ever teach that to us. Are you okay if I mention this? Because I think that might be an interesting, if they have this channel to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that kind of woke me up to a lot of the possibilities here, and Michelle introduced me to this. It's a show. It's called Interviews with Extra Dimensionals, and the guy who was interviewing, his name is Ruben Langdon. But if you can, look it up, try to find it. That helped explain it. Not every one of them resonated with me. In fact, I felt one in particular. I even mentioned it to Michelle. One very clearly seemed to be a fraud to me. But look, I'm not going to mention the person. I'm just going to say, take it for what it's worth, just like you're taking this channel for what it's worth. But it's giving us a more worldly. Boy, that sounds limiting. Yeah, worldly sounds limiting now. It takes away a lot of the limitations. I think that's probably the better way for me to describe it. It removes so many of the limiting understanding things that I have as a human. As a human, I have such limited comprehension, and these things are now showing me the possibilities.
It's amazing, because, and you know why that is? Because we're programmed. And if you look back at how we came up in school, and how school like prepares you to sit at a desk all day, and then you're going to have your little recess, few minutes of recess, and then you go back to your little seat all day. That's preparing the kids to learn how to work at a job. And so that I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories or anything, but I'm just saying we're programmed. All those different things that we're taught are not. They're putting us down because we, as human beings, we're incredible beings, and there's a lot of people that are. I don't want to say psychic mediums. Light workers, but we don't know that because we think we're just this lowly old person that we get stuck in depression and negativity and life, and we're so stuck that we don't even remember who we are.
And those people are actually made to feel like they're fools. They're
Right.
they're either crazy,
Yeah.
they're fools, they shouldn't be believed. And if anybody watching this has any doubt, why don't you just go into the street and just say, "Hey, man, I'm going to talk to a fourth dimensional person and see what the world sees of you." Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you very quickly know that's not meeting social conventions.
Well, the consciousness of the planet is rising. I mean, back in the 1600s, if you had talked about this kind of thing, you would have been hung, burned at the stake. You would be called a witch or a demon Now there's so much information out there that people are waking up, and this is the time of awakening. And I think 2025 is going to be a year of a lot of change. And I didn't even tell you this, John. So, and I think I mentioned this in an earlier podcast, that I saw myself in a vision as a light worker, and I remember seeing everybody holding hands around the world. All the light workers were holding hands, circling the world, and I saw this in a vision, and this was maybe 2 months ago, or maybe 3 months ago, and I found a picture of that. And it was just so, I was like, oh my God. And I drew, because I had never seen it. It was just, I thought it was a vision of my own, holding hands around the world of light workers. And I actually had that, I saw a picture, and I'll show it to you. Maybe we can add it in here at a later time.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think there was any chance that you might have subconsciously seen it, forgotten it?
No.
Wow.
No. No, it was a vision that I saw, which is another thing. You see, we have the ability to do many things, and we've just been so pressed down and stuck in this 3D lower level plane that we've forgotten who we are. So I'll show that to you.
Yeah, and I'll see if I can kind of show you how to
Yeah.
put it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
a lot of exciting things are happening.
a lot of exciting things are happening. Yeah.
All right.
So I don't know where it's going to go, but we'll keep you informed, and maybe at some point I'll be. I don't know if I'll be a healer or. I whatever happens, I'm open. So.
What I would say is, people, if you like this kind of content, reach out to Michelle, make comments. Right now, she's resistant to share something, such as like recordings of her speaking, right? And I get it. But if enough of you are communicating to her and supporting her and letting her know that might help you, maybe she'll share a blurb of it. But no comments, no. She's going to continue on her personal path.
Yeah, I will. But if you want to reach out, feel free. And I'd like to have somebody to talk to, or if you're experienced in light language, that may be helpful too. Maybe we could practice together, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just coming out. So.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Let's trade notes in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Michelle, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you, John. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.